So I just went to look at team up booster boxes just to see where it's at now. Because I remember a couple months back it hit like 6 grand. It was a pretty big thing. And I just wanted to check to see how much they're going for now. And when I saw how much these are going for now, from where they were at a couple months ago, I had to make this video because this booster box, it's very surprising how expensive it is, right? For being this new. Because this set is really only about 6.5 years old. And if you really think about it, that's not that old because Sword and Shield Base was released in February 2020. So it was like, what, a year newer than Team Up? And Sword and Shield Base released, in 2020. It's at this point $500 a booster box, somewhere around there. So obviously, it's nowhere near Team Up, but it just goes to show how relatively new Team Up really is. It is not that old. 6.5 years is not that old. And this booster box just recently sold for $10,000. And it's only 6.5 years old. It's very shocking. And I remember when this box was around 2 grand, it was around here. I was thinking about buying one of these because I'm like, okay, the set, it's known to be short printed, right? And at this point, it's still out of print. I'm like, okay, I was thinking about buying one of these, and I didn't because at the time, I was like, okay, 2 grand, I could spend that on like Sword and Shield or something like that. Like some other boxes, I'm like, you know what? It's already super expensive. I don't know if it's really that smart, so I just ended up not buying it. Because honestly, I would have probably bought it more for a collection piece. So I didn't end up doing it. But obviously, looking at how it's been performing recently, I wish I had done that. But yeah, it's crazy. Literally just 1 year ago, if you look, July 2024, this was $2,400. And now it's 10 grand. So it has 4x'd in 1 year, being at $2,400 all the way now to it's recently sold for 10 grand. And this is something that nobody could have expected. Because obviously, if you go back a year and you bought one of these, right? I don't think many people would be like, oh yeah, that's a great investment, right? Because you wouldn't expect a booster box like this, that's this new, to get this expensive this quickly, but it has, right? And even the ETB, if you go to the ETB, it has grown insanely as well. If you look back how much this was, just a year ago, July 2024, this was $600. And now we have recent sales of $2,500. And all of these have grown in insane amounts in a short period of time. You can just see from these dates. January 17th, $4,000. And all these other ones here, around $4,000. And you look and you go fast forward a little bit of time, you can see 2 months later, it went up a tiny bit, like mid 4,000s. And then a couple months later, it went up to 6 grand. And now a couple months later, it's at 10 grand. Like that growth is insane. It's literally gone up like 2 grand every couple months, which is ridiculous. And, it just seems like there is none out there. Like if you look at the supply on the market, there is no booster box for really much cheaper than 9 grand. There's one here on bid for $7,000 that has no bids yet. One here for 10 grand. One here for 9,500. One here on bid for 6,200. I guess we'll see what this sells for in a few days. This one's for 9,600. 12 grand. This says redescription. It's super cheap, so it must be something wrong with it. And this one is 12 grand. And that's it. There's nothing else. So this really is a $10,000 booster box because there's literally none for under that. They're all around like $9,500. And if you obviously add tax, that's 10 grand, but it's pretty much 10 grand. It's already sold for that much. So it's pretty crazy. Now, if you go to sold listings, you can see, what these have been selling for. ETB here, 2,700. And here's the listing where it sold for 10 grand. Also, another one sold for like 7,500, but this was a smaller seller. But it did sell for 10 grand, but this is a much bigger seller. So, this probably is a real sale. And yeah, it's pretty crazy that it sold for this much. But I did find something, you may have just picked up on it, like the first listing I just showed you guys from the sold listings. I found this, and obviously, this may be used for some bad intentions, or maybe it is just a collector's piece, whoever bought this. But look at this. Somebody bought an empty team up case with the label for $150. And you can see case only already cut plus Sharpie because I guess it has some marks on it. But that's ridiculous that somebody paid $150 for an empty team up case. And you can see here the pictures if you want to zoom in. It's literally just a case here. They took some nice professional photos, and here there's like some, you know, I guess writing whoever was investing into these. It says January 24, 2021, estimated value, or yeah, value 1650, paid 1300. And look at what they wrote on the box. 2 team up boxes, 2 vivid voltage, what a combination, team up and vivid voltage. 1 evolutions, 1 cosmic eclipse. And they only paid 1300 January 2021. If that person still has those, they're up a lot, but it's pretty crazy that that is what's on the box and someone still paid. Like, I don't know what you're going to do with this case. Like, you know, obviously it could be used for some bad things, but there's some, like, there's Sharpie on here, so I don't know if maybe you could take some, you know, rubbing alcohol or something and put it on it, but I don't know. It's just ridiculous that somebody actually paid this much for this empty case. But yeah, I mean, you can see it's, I mean, it's pretty ridiculous, right? They're literally taking all these photos of the cases, has a little bit of damage there. And this is it. This is literally what he paid for. Pretty much you're paying for the label, because other than that, it's just, you know, a cardboard box, right? Pretty crazy stuff. But I just want to show you guys how insane modern products can get. Obviously, this is a bit of a cherry pick because it was really short printed, which is why it's seen some insane growth recently. But I mean, even other Sun and Moon boxes have been going for 2 to 3 grand, and just a year ago, a lot of those were in the high hundreds. So, you know, you go back to Sword and Shield, and I made a video just specifically talking about this. But Sword and Shield boxes right now that are $300-$400, even $500-$700 like Fusion Strike. You think about where Sun and Moon has gone, right? And you think about, you know, Sword and Shield. It's obviously a very iconic era. In a few years, when those boxes, because a lot of them now are 3-4 years old, when they get to be like this age, like 6 years old, 7 years old for some, you know, Sun and Moon sets, you can see probably these types of growths where in a year they go crazy, because it gets to a certain point where they get so scarce that price jumps are ridiculous. And that's why we've seen some stuff like Team Up literally just earlier this year, it was 4 grand. And now you fast forward 6 months later, it's 10 grand. And that's why, you know, holding long term, you can see some growth like this. But obviously Team Up is a bit extreme. But it's just crazy that a modern product, because it's not that old, Sun and Moon is still considered to be modern, has gotten this expensive. And it's sold for $10,000. That's all I want to show you guys here. It's ridiculous and that Team Up has gotten this expensive. Let me know in the comments below. Do you guys have any Team Up booster boxes or ETBs? Because if you do and you have a good amount, you're sitting on a gold mine, and nobody knew that this would happen to Team Up. Because obviously, even just a year ago when it was at 2 grand, no one was saying this was a great investment, but it would have been if you had bought it. But, you know, I was even thinking about it and I didn't do it because I wasn't even thinking about it as really a great investment. Like I said, it was more of just a collection thing. But I didn't do it. And looking at it now, it would have been nice to probably buy it. But that's all I have for you guys here. Hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you in the next one.